In 1979, I was almost 6, and my youngest brother was born. He had Down syndrome, and he was also born at 26 weeks. So being born that early in the late 70s, he wasn't given a very good prognosis to live, but he miraculously did live, and he came home then in November of 1979. He subsequently had lots of appointments here at the hospital, so my siblings and I would often come with my mom to the hospital. We were, fairly poor. We survived on government assistance and going to different pantries for food. My mom used to bring us here every year around Christmas time, and she told us that we were getting medical supplies for my brother. I learned later that the trash bags that I thought were medical supplies, those were actually Christmas presents. My next interaction with the hospital came when I was 13. I believe that was around 1986. And my sister, my oldest sister, was actually diagnosed with cancer. And so she had to go through chemotherapy, radiation, and a couple of surgeries. So we, again, spent a lot of time here at the hospital. Being a teenager, I was not very happy that my sister was getting a lot of the attention that I now had to take care of my three younger siblings, one that had very complex needs. Nancy Karst was my sister's social worker, and she pulled me aside and she said, it's okay to be upset at your circumstances. And that just meant the world to me, because I felt so selfish and so ungrateful that I was upset that my sister was the one getting all the attention, and I was feeling bad that I had all of these new responsibilities. Her doctor was Dr. Talai, who retired a few years ago, but she used to tell him that she hated him. Why was he doing this to her? And he used to tell her that you'll thank me on your wedding day. And she would always say, I'm not getting married. And when my sister got married, just a few blocks from here over at St. Bernard's Church, Dr. Talai and Nancy Karst were there for her wedding. I thought about where my family had turned during the most difficult times, and it was always Akron Children's Hospital. They had been a part of my life since I was a young child, and so I knew that this was an organization that if I came here, that they would take care of me. When I started here in October of 1997, I started as a medical assistant. And along the way, I just had some really great mentors that encouraged me to use the hospital's tuition assistance to pursue my degree. And so I ended up getting an associate's degree in business, and then a bachelor's in human resources, and also my master's in healthcare administration. Everything came full circle was when my own daughter, Mackenzie, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I had worked for the hospital for 15 years at that time, but I tell a lot of people that I learned more after her diagnosis about the hospital than I knew the previous 15 years. So I got to see some of the fundraising efforts and what those dollars go towards, whether it was having the horse come and visit her in the hospital, or the doggy brigade, or some of her favorite things were having the cookie cart come and she could make cookies. Now that I've experienced some of the things as a sibling, and now as a mom, being able to serve in places like I'm a parent mentor, and being the chair of the Parent Advisory Council, and being able to attend fundraisers. I think just being a voice and trying to use something that could be perceived as a negative and trying to turn it into a positive have been my takeaways.